this episode, I'm going to show you how to work with the type tool. Now, awesome people, you have to remember that this is an introduction to the type tool and text in Photoshop. I'm not going to teach you about typography or about any high-end moves with text. We are just going to take a look at what is the horizontal text tool. I'm going to show you a few tricks and a few tips that I have picked up over the years, which are going to help you out a lot. But in the end, this is still a very basic tutorial. So I just want to make that clear. Now let's take a look at what is type in Adobe Photoshop. So the keyboard shortcut, awesome people, is the letter T. Okay, so T is the keyboard shortcut. Now remember, there is no modifier key, no control, no shift, no alt, nothing, just letter T. My students get confused because I teach After Effects too, right? And the keyboard shortcut for text in After Effects is Control T. So Control T is not going to get you anywhere. It's just going to bring up the transformation bounding box. So it's going to be a problem for you. So just hit the letter T and you are good. Now, awesome people, in all, Photoshop has 4 text tools, but these two in the end, horizontal type mask tool and vertical type mask tool, they're not that important. Just focus on these 2 tools. And awesome people, throughout the video, I'm going to be working with horizontal, but let me just give you a small idea as to what vertical type tool does. So I'm going to click on that, and as soon as I click somewhere in my canvas, if I start typing, you're going to see that whatever I'm typing is going to come in a vertical way. So that's the only difference. All the other options, the character panel, all the other options over here, everything is the same. Okay, so I'm going to be working with the horizontal tool because that's something that I use a lot more times than my vertical type tool. So that's the only difference. Okay, vertical type tool, text is going to come vertical, horizontal, text going to be horizontal. Okay, so I'm going to type something, say hello. Now, awesome people, this is one tip that I'd like to give to all my beginners. Awesome people, whenever you are typing something, say hello, okay? This is a habit that I've picked up and I want you to get this. Whenever I'm done typing something, I press Control A. That selects the entire text. So if I'm saying hello everyone, okay, everyone, I'm going to press Control A. This is, it's just become a habit now. I'm going to press Control A. And the reason I do this is now I can do anything with the text. So if I want to change the color of the text to say white, say black, say cyan, say, a deep cyan, something, whatever, I can do that. So I don't have to, select it manually. It just happens very fast. So this is a habit that I think, my beginner fans should get into. Now, next thing, awesome people, is that Control A. Okay, Control A trick is there. And the next thing is, it's not actually a tip, but it is something that not a lot of people know. And what they do is that once they have typed out something and they want to position it, so they'll always go to this layers panel and they click over here to get out of the typing mode. They switch to your moving tool, your move tool. They select the layer and they try to move it. And actually, awesome people, what you can do is you can actually move your text with the type tool. Forget the text, forget the type tool. You can actually move it when you are in the typing mode. Now, okay, let me just clear this out. What is a typing mode? Typing mode basically means wherever the cursor is blinking, whatever you do, like say if I was to hit the V key now, instead of jumping to my move tool, you can see I'm still in my type tool. So instead of, activating the command, Photoshop is going to type the letter V for me. So whatever keyboard shortcut, say Control C, Control V, okay, not Control C, of course. Yeah, those kind of things are not going to work. They are, just alphabets are going to come out. All right. So how can you move text when you are in this typing mode? What you can do, awesome people, is just move your cursor a little away from the text, and you'll see that your cursor changes from this white, like this thin line, to your move tool. And now, while you are in your typing mode, you can still continue typing. Okay, you can still continue typing, and you can move it at the same time. This is really, really good when you are doing website planning. If you're planning out a layout for a website or for a greeting card or any kind of business card or anything like that, this is going to come in handy a lot. This is going to save you time, big time. Yeah. So that's one thing. Control A. Now, awesome people, here is your size changing command. So if you don't like the size of your text, you can change that, make it really minute or tiny, whichever word is right. Both of them are right, I think. Anyways, awesome people, if you guys are running out of space, you can just click over here and type in your own number, hit the enter key. That is going to work as well. Now you have some more options over here, but personally, I think they're useless. just a very small change that you're gonna see. So I have this 150. Actually, I'm just going to delete this layer now. Yeah, also one more thing. Awesome people, when you are using the type tool, okay, you click somewhere, it's going to create a new layer for you. So this is, if you have like say a new layer and you start and you click somewhere, it's not going to be creating a new layer. It is, Photoshop on its own generates a type layer for any kind of text in your, document. So you have to remember that. And these layers, awesome people, these special layers are just the same. Okay, nothing is different with them. You can put them in groups. You can change the blend modes. You can see we have these over here. You can change the opacity. Basically, they are just plain layers. You can lock them. You have all these locks for them, and they work just as any other layer would. They are just special layers created for text. That's the only difference. I'm gonna select them, delete them, and I'm only gonna work with my hello everyone layer. Superb. Now what do we have to teach? Alright, so one more thing that I'd like to talk to you guys about. Awesome people, if you know this concept of vector and raster, let me just see how much time. Okay, so if you guys know the difference between vector and raster, the Photoshop, Photoshop, awesome people, is a raster-based software. I'm sure you guys would have heard that on internet somewhere, and it's true. But the text in Photoshop, awesome people, is vector-based. So if you are gonna press Ctrl T, and if you were to scale the text up, you are not gonna get any kind of pixelation. But if you were to zoom in, you are gonna get this pixelation, but it's not raster-based in its truest sense. You can rasterize the layer, and we'll look at that. If I'm making an intermediate series, let's see what happens. But you just have to remember that if you are working with this kind of layer, this text layer, your text is vector based. Okay, so you can scale it up, scale it down, nothing is going to happen to the text. Now, when you are creating text effects, awesome people, you usually work with layer styles, but you can combine this with all sorts of things. So you can basically create a new layer and apply some kind of brush stroke to it, make them blend like that. You can add in, you can kind of create a duplicate layer, put them kind of in the center, something like that. Do that. Wait a sec. Let me see what kind of effect can I create. And this is another cool thing. Awesome people, if you want to select the whole text, okay, in one shot, instead of going to the text tool, clicking somewhere, getting into the your type mode, pressing Ctrl A, instead of doing all that, a quick way is to just simply click on this T letter. Awesome people, if you if in your Photoshop your layers are very small, just do a right click over here, say large thumbnails. If it's something like this, just do large thumbnails. It's gonna get big. So just do a double click on this T letter, double click, and that's gonna select the entire word for you. Now if I change this to black, 3D in Photoshop, right? A fake 3D effect. Very nice. Okay, so that's awesome people, how you work with text in Photoshop. Very basic. Now before ending the tutorial video, let me just talk about some panels. Now when you are working with text, I'm sure you're gonna need your character panel. So if you don't see it out right now, if you're working with essentials, I'm not working with essentials. If you're working with essentials, I think it has that. But if you change it to typography, it's definitely going to be there. Yeah, there we go, character panel. Let's see if it's there in essentials. And no, it's not there in essentials. So if you don't, if you have essentials going on, if you don't see the character panel, just go to Windows and go to character. Click on that, and this boy is going to come up. And awesome people, right now you see that character is kind of hooked up with, kind of like in the back, there is one more panel called paragraph. These two panels are used a lot when you are working with text. Now, paragraph is not something that I use because I'm into matte painting, digital painting, those kind of stuff. But if you're into graphic design, web, if you do web work in Photoshop, like you create layouts, paragraph is something that you should, it is something that is going to help you out. Now, character. Okay, so character. Now, what does character do? Character, awesome people, is basically the same controls that were there, like which were there over here. Okay, so you can change size of your text, 500, sorry, 500. Okay. What you can do is, we have all these other options. You just have to work with these two. Okay. Once again, like I said, this is not a typography class. This is just introduction to text at its best, I guess, you know. So this is just for beginners. This is vertically gonna scratch your text. So if you want that kind of effect, 120, and you can see that it just kind of gives you that vertical jump. This is gonna give you the horizontal scratch. So if you change it like that, you know, it's gonna scratch it out horizontally. Next is, of course, you can change the color of the text, and this is something that I use a lot. These options over here. You can see right now these double T's are on. This basically means everything is gonna be in all caps. You see that? Tooltip, all caps. If I switch it off, you can see I didn't write everything in caps, so some of them are in caps, some of them in small letters, and that's how you roll, right? So if you quickly want to change everything to all caps, instead of selecting everything, typing stuff again, just come over here, click on this, and everything is all caps.